everyone, and welcome back to the Grow Yours podcast, where we talk to coaches, consultants, advisors about their entrepreneurial journeys, their businesses, and how they help people. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by Michael Weaver, who is a sales coach and the co-founder of Weaver Sales Academy. And before I get into telling you all about him and the impressive conversation that we previously had, Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, man. I'm looking forward to today.
Yeah, me too. We got a bunch of exciting stuff to unpack. And I guess the first thing that we should get into, so the listeners understand a little bit more who you are, is tell us about your entrepreneurial journey. Where'd you start in your career, and how did you end up opening Weaver Sales Academy?
Yeah, so I'm going to date myself a little bit. So this journey started back about 16 years ago, so 2009. I had to ultimately I was going to college to go to law, and I had to have an internship to graduate. And so I went around to law firms and banks, and all of them said, no, thank you, not hiring. Lucky for me, they honestly felt like funeral homes. And then I went into insurance agents, and they felt like funeral homes as well, except for one young office that had a good vibe about it. And they told me, no thanks, come back next year when you graduate. But I went back the next day and told the guy, I'm going to show up here every day at your doorstep till you give me a job, which he did. And so that summer I was their intern, and I was their marketing expert, which really meant cold calling. So all I did all summer long was cold call, and I ran errands for the office. And then at the end of the summer, he showed me a paycheck, and I grew up very blue collar, and the paycheck was what I imagined at that time, probably 4 or 5 months of my parents' income. He's like, I get 2 of these a month. I'm like, well, I think I could probably do this for a living. So I went back to college, graduated, came back, started with him full time in the insurance industry, worked with him, learning the business, or learning honestly every aspect of the business. I was in the sales role, became the top salesperson in the state of Missouri and Kansas within the company, and then opened my own business with my wife. In 2014, we started a scratch insurance agency, top 100 agent in the company every year that we were in the agency. And then in 2018, that's when we created Weaver Sales Academy, which is a sales training and coaching organization. So I've owned Courtney and I have owned probably 5 or 6 businesses over the last 10 years of being entrepreneurs. At this point, we exited the agency and sold 3 of our other businesses in 2022. So now all we do full time is Weaver Sales Academy, and we're about to launch a new AI coaching and training company in August of this year, actually. So very excited about that. We work with a little over 7,500 insurance professionals across the country right now, and overall, we're well over that 15,000 mark over the last 7 years. And June just happens to be Weaver Sales Academy's birthday, so this is a perfect recording time, man.
All right, awesome. Happy birthday to the business.
That's right.
It seems a lot of people that I speak to never go the route that they thought they were in college. That's almost a guarantee for the entrepreneurial journey. But where along your career did you realize that you were going to be more than doing insurance, and you were going to be building your own businesses?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I would say, so Weaver Sales Academy was born not because I necessarily had a passion for training and coaching, or I didn't think I did. I had over 450 conversations with my peers that were agents, and a lot of them were struggling, and I narrowed down 4 to 5 real pain points that came up in almost every conversation, with not being able to train the team, not wanting to train, not making the money they wanted, working all the time, not having processes and systems. And so that's how Weaver Sales Academy was actually built. And then what happened is I just kind of happened to fall in love with the training and coaching because of the impact that I had the ability to make, because now I could not only help out my peers and their teams, but then that would impact customers. And that's why I got into the insurance space, was to help customers have a great experience, help them out with financial planning, insurance planning. And so the passion just transferred from insurance and being an agent, which I love, to the coaching and training space, to where we developed an online school that could train their teams for them. And watching my peers have success by working with them, it lit me up. I fell in love with it. And that's ultimately why we decided to go full steam ahead and and pursue this full time. I mean, we gave up a thriving business. It was scary at the moment giving up that much income, because insurance is a pretty dang amazing business, because you have the residual income to where you don't, if you go to work, you get paid. If you don't go to work, you get paid. Like it's a pretty cool business. And so it was scary leaving that, but I just felt like I had to pursue a passion. I had to do, like, it was almost like a calling. And honestly, it's may have been the hardest decision I've ever made from an entrepreneur or business standpoint, but it's the best decision I've ever made, was to pursue my passion, what I love, because that fire just has never left. And the impact that we've been able to make is amazing, man. And that's what lights me up every single day. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but being an entrepreneur, I believe, is the best gig in the world, you could say. If you set it up right, it's also the toughest. I mean, some days are really, really good, and some days are really, really tough. I've invested in things that just haven't worked. I've been scammed out of not scammed, but well, some scams. But $250,000 over the last 5 years of learning lessons, you could say, with investing in things that I thought would work, or investing in things that just were a full blown scam. So a lot of learning lessons along the way, but the freedom and impact that you have the ability to make, and more so the income opportunity that you have to make, because ultimately the more people you help, the more money you make. And as an entrepreneur, my goal is to help as many people as possible, and to continue to, in my space of being in the insurance, I literally wake up every day and I'm like, what can I create that's going to help eliminate pain points in agents' offices? And that's fun, man, because we're always creating, we're always trying new things. Sometimes they really love it, and sometimes they're like, hey, that didn't hit the mark, and that's okay. But we're always going to try to create things that are going to help benefit our peers and take their businesses to the next level.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Just the whole concept of, you were basically already doing what you're doing now when speaking to your peers in insurance. So naturally, it just should be something that you should pursue. It's like almost you were chosen for it, as opposed to it being the choice that you made. Now, you said 250,000 in learning lessons, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure many other entrepreneurs can relate, and many listeners are scared shitless of what you just said. So, let's talk about those lessons a little bit, and
Yeah.
talk about some of those investments that you made. So, would you say a majority of those investments were into your own business's growth and trying different methodologies, or into more what you do actually, and talking to other coaches and different things like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's not taking into the investments that Courtney and I make. So every single year, we either invest in masterminds, hire coaches. So we invest 100K a year into just ourselves, into personal development and growth. So I don't consider those learning lessons. I believe the best investment you'll ever make is the investment that you make in yourself. So we're very much always looking to invest in ourselves, to try and grow ourselves, develop ourselves, so we can be the best that we can be, quite frankly, both personally and professionally. Most of these investments, some of them were into, we invested into Amazon stores at one point in time, and that ended up being which all of my buddies were doing it, so I was like, let's do it. Well, ended up being a pretty big scam. So that was like 45 grand that was just not a good situation. We invested into our business, into a leg that I thought we wanted to go down, and the developer that we hired at the time gave us a bid. We got multiple bids, and his wasn't the cheapest, but he was who I thought was the best. Well, long story short, like development never came out of development stage. Ended up paying him about 50% more than the original bid, and then he just walked away from the. So those are the types of learning lessons. Along with, look, that's just monetary learning lessons are great. They suck, but they're great. But the learning lessons that you learn along the way of the entrepreneurial journey is really what builds you as a business owner. So I have really big goals, and I want to achieve them as fast as possible. But as you know, you have to have delayed gratification as an entrepreneur and business owner. So many times we overestimate what we're going to accomplish in a year, and you underestimate what you're going to accomplish in 5 years. Like when I look back, So I shared 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, Courtney and I were living in a 300 square foot apartment, dude, like in the middle of a big city, not a great neighborhood. Fast forward to 15 years, we're living in our dream home on the lake, spending 4 months of the year in Sedona, Arizona to stay out of the winter. And so, if you're willing to come in and work hard as an entrepreneur and do the right thing, be creating solutions to people's problems, and do the monotonous work day in and day out, the first 5 years, in my opinion, are the hardest for in the entrepreneur journey. But once you get the business going, you get the right people in it, because all good businesses are built by good people. You can't do this thing by yourself, and so you got to create that winning culture. You got to have processes and systems. You have to continue to innovate and solve problems. But as you go with this journey, what I feel like you have to go through a lot of learning lessons and life lessons along the way to become the person that it takes to achieve the big goals that you want to achieve. So I wouldn't be as an entrepreneur. Yes, some days can be scary. Sometimes you're like, holy smokes, how am I going to make a payroll this month or whatever? But man, that's part of it. And I wouldn't give up this journey for anything. I absolutely love it. I love everything about the journey, even the lessons, the hard lessons, the financial investments we've made that didn't pan out. You know what? If you're not, it's risk reward. Like if you're not trying and if you're not going to do everything to take your life and business to the next level, then you're going to be complacent and you might as well just work a 9 to 5 and be ready. And just, I don't know, man. Like I can't even relate to that because I can't imagine just going back to a 9 to 5 gig and having somebody tell me what to do. And then I'm just living on the weekends to get ready for Monday. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I definitely in my young entrepreneurial journey have taken plenty of risk and have definitely invested in myself and learning as much as possible. But I am in that first 5 years of the journey. So yeah, it's pretty hard. I agree with you.
Yeah, dude, just hang on because it's if you do it right with like again, I say processes and systems, team, winning culture, having like vision. Like I believe that like having your vision in front of you. I'm a big proponent of vision boards, and making sure you have clarity on your goals, where you want to go, your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year. And when you see those things every single day, like I have a vision board right over there in my office that I look at every day, and it helps you remember your why. It helps you remember why you're doing what you're doing. If you have like specifically in your first 5 years, man, every win you get, every testimonial, I used to save those things on my phone, and I had a folder that on the bad days I would just go in and look at my notes or look at these screenshots of what people were saying and the results they were having. Because yeah, not every day is going to be good, not every day is going to be easy, but I will tell you, it's worth it. Period. Like the journey. What's the old saying? Like don't. It's not the end goal, but it's the journey along the way. So don't focus on the destination. Focus on the journey to get you there. Something like that. And I agree with that 100%. Harder, all right, easier said than done. Some days you're like, shit, this just is not. This is insane. Why am I doing this? But if you love what you do, it it's a Pinterest quote, but if you love what you do, it never feels like work. And I would agree with that. Like I wake up every single day truly loving what I get to do. And it's in the town I grew up in, small town of 4,500 people. That's not how it was, man. Like they were living for the weekends and spending as much money on beer as they made in a week. So I feel very grateful about where I'm at in my life and very grateful for what God and the universe has given us to this point for sure.
That's awesome. I think that's a really great outlook. And that kind of ties into what you like to call yourself. You like to say that you and your wife are ambitious hippies. And that means you guys are kind of allowed to experience the world. And you touched on it a little bit. You guys spent time in Arizona and you get to avoid the cold and all those other aspects. But what's been your favorite place that you traveled to that your business has been able to operate without you?
Mm. Mm. Um, so we have a big trip coming up that I think is going to be our favorite. We're actually going to Africa and Egypt for 3 weeks in
That's cool.
August, so that'll be dope. Um, right now, right now, my favorite place I've ever been has been Japan. But I will tell you, so we've been to almost 30 countries since 2017. We've been to almost every state. We lived out of a Class A, like 44-foot Class A for 4 months at one point in time on the West Coast. But I'll tell you that the trip that really started this journey was in 2017 in November. So we started our first business in 2014. So you can do the math on that. April of 2014. So we'd have been what, 15, 16, 3 years in, 3.5 years in, and our bucket list trip at that point in time was New Zealand. And so we went to New Zealand, Australia, and Thailand for 30 days. I didn't work on that trip. So I didn't bring my laptop. I didn't do anything. We had the business established. We had the team. We had the processes. And that trip is actually the trip Weaver Sales Academy was born on. We actually did the business plan on the plane ride over to New Zealand. But yeah, dude, it was wild. But, when we got back from that trip, I only came back to 3 hours of work, and it was basically just email stuff that I had to get done. And that really opened my eyes to the power of having a really great team by your side, the power of having processes and systems. And so I also fell in love with traveling at that point, and understanding, because by getting myself out of the business, for example, I just told you we did the whole business plan for Weaver Sales Academy. So I'm a huge proponent of getting outside the four walls of what you do every single day. I think every business owner, even in the beginning, you should be leaving your business a minimum of 1 to 2 times a month, every month, getting outside the four walls, just going and doing whatever you enjoy, because that's going to add some creativity and some space for you to think. Because when I'm in my four walls of my office or my business, all I'm thinking about every day is what I need to get done, what I'm doing, what's on the agenda, and it doesn't really have time for free think or free thought process. And once you have an established business, or you have the time, I recommend business owners get out of their office on at least every Friday, once a week. Take the whole day off, maybe go to a coffee shop, whatever you want to do, man. Like, I sacrificed so much early on in my career because that's what I felt like I had to do. I felt like I had to work 18 to 20 hours a day every single day. I'm lucky, like my wife and I worked together. That was the only time she saw me. I do believe hard work goes a long ways, but I believe that if I knew now what I knew then, I wouldn't have had to work as much, and we would have been just as productive, if not more productive. And that's really easy for me to say now, but man, like, I guess you don't know what you don't know. And so you have to learn the lessons along the way. But yeah, baby, we call ourselves ambitious hippies. We love to work hard, make a positive impact, and travel, see the world, meet new people, experience new cultures, because we believe that that's what allows us to grow. And you have to experience what we call the human experience, because life is short, man. The last 15 years, I can't even believe I've been doing this for 16 years now. It's flown by, and no day, no tomorrow is ever promised. So I'm going to make the most out of every single day if I can, and make sure I live the absolute best life I can and make a positive impact along the way. And if I can do that, then there's not much else I can ask for out of life, man.
I want to dive into that impact a little bit more, specifically with Weaver Sales Academy. And what you guys do is extremely important because I know a ton of businesses struggle with consistently training their sales team. So, how do you guys effectively bridge that gap using your platform?
Yeah, so right now with Weaver Sales Academy, so what we did is so we're in the insurance space, and really our niche market or target market are PNC and life insurance agents, so multi-line insurance agents. So think of like your Farmers, your State Farm, your Allstate, American Family, people like that. So, and independent. Like if you sell auto insurance, fire insurance, life insurance, I'm your go-to trainer. And what we did is we created an online school, just like you were to go to an online college. They're going to have a curriculum that you take. That's what we did. And so we created curriculum style based training, and we use the psychology of selling, psychology of buying behavior, and psychology of learning. And we created this database to where you can like a new agent or an agent that hires somebody new can plug them into our system, get them up and selling in less than 7 days for them. And by day 90, they're producing, this isn't going to make a difference to you, but 51 apps or items a month, 46 PNC, 5 life. Well, that's a really great producer in the insurance space. And so by us being able to give agency owners the tools necessary to take that training off of their plate, give them an organized, consistent training method, they know that everybody in their agency is being trained the same way every single time, to where then if the numbers, the data is off, they can automatically be like, okay, you're either missing this or you're missing this. So that tool is really important. And then we backed it up with live trainings on a weekly basis, to where every single Tuesday as a community, we get together and we role play conversations and coach them in the moment. And then we have dedicated success managers that will check into the agency every other week just to see how they're doing. Do they need any help? What's your success? What's your struggles? Everyone has access to me via text message. So I talk to 300 to 500 agents and producers a month, answering their sales related questions. So ultimately, we just try to continue to innovate and create something that can help eliminate that pain point, because so many business owners have to choose to either grow their business or train their team, and they shouldn't have to do that, right? So we try to take that training off their plate as much as possible. The new AI company we're coming out with is going to take that even to the next level, because it will be almost like a done for them program, to where they'll have a coach and trainer at their fingertips 24/7, which I'm extremely excited about. I think that this is just like any business needs a CRM. I think every insurance agency owner in the country is going to want this program just like they would, or this tool just like they would want a CRM. But that's what we do, man. Like, it's training is tough. Even if you love training as a business owner, and you can probably relate to this as a new business owner, you're everything from the marketer to the prospector to the trainer to the leader to the CEO to the manager to the community liaison. Well, my gosh, how much time do you have? Like, you don't have time to do all those things, and typically you have to sacrifice. So the one thing that I find that gets sacrificed in most businesses is the training of the teams. And so that's why we had such a passion to create something to give their teams the tools to be successful and confident in what they do every single day, and knowing that they can feel good about what they do. They don't have to feel sleazy, salesy, anything like that. And so we're trying to help people be irreplaceable in the future and make the money that they want and deserve.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, you guys are getting in contact with sales leaders of these insurance teams, and then the program is for everybody on their team. It's not necessarily like an individual who's in sales is coming to you guys and saying like, "Hey, teach me how to sell."
That's right. Yep.
hmm So, what would you say is unique about your training methods compared to traditional methods?
So our program itself is very unique in the fact of how we have it outlaid. So a lot of people have on-demand systems today. It's just a bunch of recordings of how they're successful, which is cool and fine. I got no beef with that. Like, everybody's trying to help everybody. We took more of a approach around the science of learning, like I said earlier, and we went of a curriculum-based style training. So we teach off a playbook format, and then we have short form videos, so think TikTok style learning. So 2 to 3 minute videos. And then we back it up with the actual sales conversation that's been recorded. So they read it, they watch it, they listen to it. Now you do it. And so that's how we've been able to eliminate or take the training off of agency owners' plate. And I would say that's extremely unique. I still don't know a training organization in the insurance space that is necessarily organized the way ours is in that curriculum style based training. So I would say that's how we're unique. I would say the other unique approach that I take, I talk about transformational selling versus transactional selling. So in the insurance space, transactional selling really over the last decade has taken control of the industry. And what I mean by transactional selling, that means that the people selling the product are very price motivated, price driven. And so they would call and be like, "Hey, Michael, I got your quote put together. It's $250 a month. What do you think about that?" Well, shoot, man, like, insurance is so much more than price. Insurance has the ability to make sure that on someone's worst day that they don't have to suffer financially. I don't care if they total out their car, their house burns down, they lose a loved one, they get disabled, whatever it is. As an insurance professional, they have the ability to have conversations every single day that change people's lives and change people's futures, and make sure that they have a plan set up to where they don't have to be devastated financially. And so I teach through education, through empowerment. I call it transformational selling. You can also think of it as like more of a consultative approach. And that's the approach I take. I just find that it works really well. And I believe that the approach, and I've always taken this approach, but I believe that this approach is an absolute must moving forward in the industry because of AI. AI is going to make things more efficient. But I believe, and there's some data and statistics already coming out, that humans are going to crave humans even more. So human interaction. There will be a segment of the population, just like there's a 10% segment that only wants to buy on price. There will be a certain percentage of segment that only wants to work with AI. But what data and statistics are already showing is that as AI evolves and gets more familiar or more introduced into businesses, that humans are actually craving dealing with humans and human interaction and trust humans more than AI. And so I believe that in the insurance space specifically, but even in all sales, it doesn't matter what business you're in, the in-person, face-to-face, like virtual, over the phone, it doesn't matter, is actually going to increase. And so you have to be able to develop a skill set, which is what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about helping people develop a skill set to where they know how to have conversations that matter, that are meaningful, that are fulfilling, that actually convert and help and protect people, educational, empowering. And that's what I believe is a skill set you're going to have as a sales professional moving forward in any sales industry you're working in to be successful, so that you're irreplaceable and not replaced by AI and tech.
That's interesting because I know so many young entrepreneurs my age who part of their service offering is the AI sellers, the AI
Mm-hmm.
phone contacts, the AI text messages, and it's becoming increasingly more popular. But I do agree that the human element of sales is something that is going to be one of the last things to go in the AI era. Just because, yeah, you could teach the AI all the objection handling, all the emotional angles that it's supposed to be taking when having the conversation, but it'll never have, I don't know what it is, that wit, that spark, that one thing that people could pick up on in a split instance. That sure, I'm sure Google's most powerful AI could do it, but the commonplace ones that we can get our hands on, I don't think that they have that capability yet.
I don't think they have the capability yet, and I think they will one day for sure, like pretty quickly. But um, and maybe I'm naive here, but I just think, I mean, statistically, like, so in my space, I research a lot of statistics, and 83% of Gen Zers and 79% of millennials say that they want a relationship with their financial professional. That's a really big deal. Like 79%, 83%. Um,
It's larger
saying
than I thought.
yeah, like I want to have a relationship with the person. So I think that AI and automations, I think the service business, I think the service aspect of business, I do think like AI is going to replace a lot of people, and even in some sales roles. But specifically in my niche, I don't think salespeople really have to worry if they are good at what they do. If all they're doing is calling and saying, "Hey, I got your quote put together," or they're emailing or they're texting, and they're not having conversations that are meaningful, then yeah, they're gone. Because there's no need when an AI could do the same thing for way less money. But when it comes to having conversations that actually matter, building rapport, figuring out the pain point, the discovery, what does somebody expect or want out of you as your business? What problem do they have that they need you to solve? I just find that that's going to be really difficult to replace. And now we'll see what, again, statistics and data. Obviously, this is very early on. I mean, we've only, chat's been around for 2 years, ChatGPT. So this is something new that is relatively, but the early on statistics and data right now are showing that people would rather that they trust humans more than they trust AI.
Makes sense. That's pretty interesting though because I'm I'm going to date myself right now. I'm 26, and so I'm a Gen Zennial. I'm right there in
Yep.
between. And me personally, I don't care about the relationship I have with like a finance person or an insurance person, just as long as I'm getting the returns on like my VUL, as long as my money is going trending in an upwards direction. Me personally, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
But again, my financial advisor is a friend of mine that I've known since high school. So maybe I just naturally gravitated that way. But I did speak to a whole bunch of other people. I just thought he was the best. I don't know. I think that's really crazy that it's 83%. I didn't think that number would be that high because I think my generation is so computerized. Like I had my first phone when I was 10. I had an iPod Touch when I was like 8. So I machines are a part of my life. You know what I mean? I know that probably sounds crazy to you because you're like, wow.
Wait, you call me old right now?
No, I thought it was funny when you said 16 years ago. I was like, damn, I was 10.
I know. I know. I'm the generation that it's interesting. I'm like the last generation that grew up. Like I didn't get a cell phone until I was 17.
Wow. Yeah, I
So,
can't even imagine. I was texting people for as long as I can remember. It was a normal
yep.
form of communication. Group chats were such a normal form of socialization for me. And
Yep.
to my parents, like my dad's 67. He's like, "You're talking to 7 people at once?" He's like, "How do you know who he's talking to?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, man, it will be interesting. I think, so what I think, cause I have a lot of Gen Zers that are like, I don't want to call them friends. Yeah, they're friends. So,
Sure.
and I've asked them, I've talked to them, and what I found, maybe you can relate to this, maybe you can't. They said that they love the idea of being able to access things online, take control of things, but when they need that opinion or help, they like to be able to call and talk to somebody that is that professional that can guide them in a direction that they can feel comfortable and confident with. And so that's where I hang my hat on, like in the financial services space or insurance space, like you are going to want to make sure, and maybe you don't. And look, that's why there's like segments of customers that are typically like a 20-20-20-20-20 split, right? But when segmenting customers, and maybe you don't care about like if you have a claim, if your entire claim's covered, or if your wages are getting garnished, right? If no one's ever had that conversation with you, you're not going to care, because all you've seen since 1999 is Geico advertising just save money on insurance. Insurance is just insurance. It's a commodity. You have to have it, but you shouldn't pay more than you need to for it. In my opinion of being in the insurance industry, insurance is more important than like a heart doctor, right? Because you're more likely to total out your car than you are to have a heart attack. You're more likely for your house to burn down than you are to have a heart attack. So, and all these things really matter, especially in today's space, because financial planning, investments, like you were part of '08, you're seeing what's going on now. So it'll be very interesting. But that this is the not every sales, but I believe that these are the types of sales professions or occupations that people are always going to want to work with professionals, people that are licensed, people that are experts, people that can guide them. But you want to make your own decision, and you like doing everything with this thing, and that's fair.
I could agree with you on the first part about what you said, and the fact that there is mentors, coaches, people I just know from growing up, my friends' older siblings, for example, that if I need advice in specific situations that I know they've been part of, I won't rely on just like ChatGPT to give me the answer. I will go to them and be like, hey, you've probably done this. What's your outlook on this? I also have to respect the person. It can't just be anybody. It's got to be somebody that I revere to an extent, you know?
For sure. Well, it's funny you say that, because she's not our niece, but she's like our niece. So she's 22 years old. She got her license to do hair, and so she works at the salon every single day. And there's an insurance agent across the road, and I was talking to her the other day, and she was like, "Man, that guy's never at the office. I would never do business with him." I'm like, "Tell me more." She's like, "Well, dude, if I'm paying somebody, they better be at the office working if I'm going to pay them." And I'm like, "I can respect that. Like, I totally get that." And so, I don't want to say you. I think that Gen Zers, younger millennials. I'm an elder millennial, right? So I'm 37. I believe that our generations and the generations moving up will actually force people to be better at what they do, or you will not work with them, right? You have to be able to trust. There has to be that trust level there. There has to be that experience there. They have to be an expert. They have to be somebody that when you call them, you're like, they know what they're talking about, or they're not going to be in business. And I do believe that, because you guys do have the ability to access anything you want. whether it's true or not true, you don't know that, but you can look up most of the answers yourselves, right? And so you're going to hold people to the fire of being like, if you say you're the best, you better be the best. You better be at work. You better be showing up. When I call you, you better be able to help, or I'm going somewhere else. And I actually respect that. And I think that is, I think that your generation is making every other generation step up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can get on board with that because even in my own work, if I go online and I see that somebody found a way to do something that I'm doing better, I'm like, I'm not the best. I got to get there. I'm not I'm not at the full capacity that I should be at. I got to get there. So if I mean, I do it to myself, but I feel like every business owner and entrepreneur does that to themselves.
That's why we're
But
wired. Yeah.
I definitely would hold the person that I'm working with accountable for sure. For sure. And like, yeah, I guess that goes back to what I was saying before. Like, as long as the number is trending upwards, but it's got to be trending upwards to the capacity that I believe possible.
Yep.
hmm So, all right, whole bunch about AI there. That was really good stuff. And so I want to talk about your AI and what you're developing a little bit more. I got a whole bunch of questions, honestly, because I've worked with tools like that will I could upload my sales call and it'll like spit out a bunch of coaching to me,
Yep.
or um, I'll upload transcripts and use the combination of Claude, ChatGPT, and a whole bunch of different prompts within to help me improve my sales and all the conversations I'm having. How exactly do you plan? I mean, I don't know if you want to reveal this, but how exactly do
Yeah.
you plan on your AI tool being implemented into your program?
Yeah, so it's actually going to be a whole new business, right? So it's
Oh,
going
okay,
to,
okay.
yep. So it'll be a whole new business because it's a true SaaS company. So this thing we've been working on it for months. We have us and the partner that we partnered with. We have millions invested in it, and so you're spot on. So a lot of these companies, and so this is where we came in with our niche. Is we had a bunch. I use AI for Weaver Sales Academy right now to coach my team. So it's a coaching and training tool that can listen to sales calls, gives me feedback because I run a 100% remote operation. So I have to know what's going on and be able to coach my team. And instead of recording Zoom calls like I used to do and have to watch the whole damn thing, now I can get a summary that's like, hey, here's what they did well, here's what they need to improve on, here's how you coach them. So there's lots of companies out there that do that, which I think is what you're speaking of, to where you can plug it into your CRM or your phone, it listens to the call, it like gives you a detailed report of what went well, what you could have improved on, it scores you, which is super cool. And so there's companies like that all across the board, probably hundreds, if not thousands. Um, the idea I had for the insurance space was to take that high level coaching and training tool that's really not different than any other AI coaching and training tool on the market. All of them are trying to compete with the same thing. Well, when you try to compete with the same thing, that makes things really, really hard. That means you're in a race to the bottom on price. So you have to build a product that's sustainable, but then you're going to have to scale down the price to be able to scale the product because you're no different. If you're offering the same thing as everybody else, maybe a few differentiators here and there, but pretty much the same. And so what we created is we created a tool for agency owners and team members to where not only do they have that aspect where it's going to grade them on every call, but it's going to be niched down to the insurance industry. Not only that, now we implemented, and this is where we came in as a partnership, is we put training in it. So they're going to be able to, so the AI tool now that they have will be able to train their teams for them. It's like having an agency coach and trainer in your office, which usually would have cost an agent to have a trainer and coach in their office over $100,000. Man, they're gonna pay maybe a tenth of that cost for this tool, and it's gonna be better than a human coach and trainer because it sits with every single person. They will have access at their fingertips to where they can come in and get trained. They can role play and practice. After the role play, they actually get coached. After the role play, they get recommended, hey, here's what you did well, here's what you could have improved on, here's the training I want you to watch, and then we're going to practice again. It's going to plug into the phone system, record every single call, listen to every call, coach them instantaneously. And it's going to do more than all this, but I'm just going to cover these 5 topics right now. And then what happens is it sends detailed reports of every practice session and every coach or every actual live call to the sales manager or agency owner to give them the details and transparency on what's going on in their office with every conversation every time, and tells them how they should be, what they were coached on, and if they're going to coach, what to look out for and coach to. That is powerful. I believe that what we create, and this is just the first version of it. This version, there's going to be multiple versions of this to where we'll be able to help the service team. We'll be able to take like an agent and be like, hey, what are the 50 most common questions you get asked on a weekly, monthly basis, bam, we're going to make this tool unique to their agency to where we can replace the agent to where now they can go out and do the things they want. Because I'll go back to what I said earlier. You shouldn't have to choose between growing your business and training your team. Every single business owner needs a coach or trainer or manager in their office, and it's really hard to afford. So we're going to solve that need for them. Just like they have CRMs, I believe that this tool will be just as important as a CRM to be successful in the future. So that's a high level snapshot of what we got going on.
All right, sounds really interesting. Question one. So is it gonna have like an avatar so that they feel like they're actually having a conversation with a person, or is it just like a language model where it's gonna be you spitting words out?
Avatar.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really
Yep.
cool there. And then on top of that, bit more of an in the weeds question, but I'm just kind of curious because I did work at a Northwestern Mutual. That's where I started my career, and they
Let's
have
go, man.
yeah, they have a lot of restrictions on what softwares they can use and stuff because they're worried about security and
Yep.
privacy and all that stuff. So is this AI model going to be ran locally at all these businesses?
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yep. So the goal here is to obviously, with it being a SaaS product, so it's going to be able to get into as many agency owners' hands as possible. Because I do believe it's going to eliminate a huge pain point. I think this has the potential to disrupt an entire industry and really make a positive impact. And so they'll have access to it. Even if we can't plug into their phone systems and listen to the live like sales calls, they still have access to the training portion, to the role play portion, practice in the coaching. But a lot of agents or carriers that we work with will actually be able to plug in to their phone system, to their CRM. And so then they get everything. And so our goal is to get in as many agency owners' hands as possible, and then actually take it to carriers after proof of concept and try to get a carrier to license it for their entire agency force, or even buy it from us. But this is definitely a product that we plan on growing and scaling and selling in the next 3 to 5 years. So it's I believe it's going to make a huge positive impact on the industry, and our goal is to just make people as good as they can be, and to give them access to instantaneous coaching and training at their fingertips 24/7 when they want it, when they need it.
That's really cool. All right, I'm on board. Where do I get one?
Yeah, man, I'm pumped. I didn't even know, like, when I approached the company, I did, because I'm not a tech guy. Like, I'm not a tech bro. I'm probably one of the least techie guys you've ever met, honestly. And like the guys, like they sent me a Slack invite the other day, and I'm like, I can't get this to work. He's like, oh my.
Well, okay.
I'm like, but I'm a sales guy, and so
Yeah, I get it.
And not that I'm like, I'm not
Incompetent.
dumb,
Yeah, I
and
know.
it's not, and
Yeah.
I can figure out tech. Like that was just, I was having weird issues with with that example, but that's the best part about, like, we just had a specialist on our podcast, and she does a lot with AI, and she's like, Michael, this is the perfect partnership, because she's like, they're the tech bros and you're the conversation / insurance bro. And she's like, it has to be created by somebody that's good at sales, good at conversations, knows what your customers are going through. Because she's like, the tech bros can create the tech, but usually the tech is very high level, it's very generic, it's not specific to anyone's pain point. She's like, this is a perfect marriage. She's like, this is going to absolutely crush. And I believe that. Like, I believe that will help out so many business owners buy back their freedom, buy back their time, give them more confidence in what's going on every single day. Transparency, insurance space, you know the financial services space, so many regulations. As you as
It's
a business
insane.
owner, yeah, man. So you as a business owner, if you don't know what's happening on every call, you put yourself at risk. You put yourself at compliance risk. You put yourself at E&O risk. Now that eliminates that risk. You know exactly what's going on with every call, and we've actually dialed in the AI to measure certain compliance risk that in conversations that their team may or may not be having, and that's part of the grade card in the report that they're having. So that's why I think that this is an absolute must in every insurance agency in the country.
Yeah, I used to get so frustrated because at the same time I was working at Northwestern Mutual, I was actually a recruiter. So kind of sales, kind of not,
Yep.
but in the weeds over there. And I was just like, guys, if we just ran, I was obviously at home, going home, getting on the computer, learning how to sell online, how to do this online. So like I got really into paid ads, and that's where I've gotten into my business now. And I was like, guys, if we just ran some meta ads, we would not only get new insurance clients, life insurance clients, financial advisory clients, we would have people blowing the doors off to get a job here, and they would just be like, "No, we can't do it." And I was like, "Why?"
Yep.
I was
Yeah,
like, "It doesn't
dude.
make any sense." And they're like, "Technically, it's allowed, but we don't want to have to deal with Northwestern Mutual compliance." And I was like, "But you're trying to avoid a little bit of paperwork for something that could be exponentially beneficial." And they would look at me like, "Well, we don't know how it works." I was like, "Well, I do." I was like, let me give it a shot." And they used to just look at me, and I was like fresh out of college, so they'd be like, shut up and get back on the phone." And I'd
Yep.
be like, "Oh, I
Yep.
do not want to do that anymore."
And I agree with you, and that's the one thing about the insurance and financial services industry. It's so archaic.
Hmm.
They were about a decade behind. So as bad as COVID was, COVID actually helped speed up the insurance and financial services industries a lot when it came to technology, because they had to change in a really quick fashion, or else their agents would have went broke. So they had to figure out how to do things differently from a technological standpoint, and so they're still slow, right? Which is why I believe that what we created is going to be even more important and valuable to the industry that we work in. But you're spot on with regulations and things, specifically even more in the investments and financial services. The regulations are just super tight. So AI, it'll be interesting to see how AI incorporates within those industries, to see how fast they, because I don't know why a carrier, for example, with what we created, I have no idea why a carrier wouldn't want to work with us to give this to every agent in their company, so that the carrier knows what's going on in every conversation of the representative of their company. Like, I
Oh
have
yeah,
no idea why a carrier would not want to either license it through us or buy that from us, because from a carrier standpoint, you want this information. Number one, you want your agency force trained. Number two, you want them having something at their fingertips that can help them out. Number three, you want to know the conversations they're having, because talking about right now, everyone talks about customer segmentation. Well, it's all really a guess based off of surveys and actuaries that supposedly this is going to show you exactly how people like to be talked to. It's going to show you their exact customer segmentation. It's going to tell you what's actually important to them, so there's no more guessing. That's where I think AI is going to be awesome in every industry. Is it's going to be able to give business owners so much data to where now we can create things that people actually want, because we have the real-time data to know this is what's happening in thousands and thousands and thousands of conversations.
yeah, I think that's really really important, honestly. And I think the softwares. I remember with Northwestern Mutual, we used something called like Ring Central, and then I don't
Yeah.
think they use it anymore. I think they actually got rid of it because of there was like some compliance issues with it. But it wasn't very useful. Honestly, it just made making phone calls that much more difficult. But speaking of getting all these companies to license or even purchase from you, obviously that's going to take a lot of marketing, and it's going to take some huge, not necessarily expensive, but some huge marketing initiatives. So
Yeah.
first, I want to ask you, what internal marketing strategies have you seen the most effective in your previous businesses? And
Mhm.
then, as a follow up, what do you predict will be the most effective for your AI coaching system?
So I'll take you all the way back to when we opened our first business. So it would have been 2014, 11 years ago. I was a smile and dialer, dude. I've made thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of cold calls. And I'm not saying that was the best approach, but look, in business, you either go out and you create centers of influence. So you're going to go out and have lunch with people every single day, buy lunch. Like, that just wasn't my personality. I was definitely a grinder, and so I would just call everyone in my business how to call, maximize the phone, because I always had this saying that I told my wife early on when we were dating: if I can just master the phone, we'll never have to worry about money a day in our lives. And I still stand true to that today. Like, as a business owner, if you're not making the money you want, go out and hit the phones, man. You can pound 300, 400, 500 calls a day every single day, and you won't have to worry about money if you do that for an extended amount of time and master your craft, invest in yourself. So we did that. Social media, I was an early adopter of social media. So we started doing lives in 2015, 2015 Facebook Lives back in the day. I watched Gary Vee one time. He's like, you need to be doing this. Came home. I'm like, babe, I think we need to be doing this. So we started doing a thing that we called Weaver Wednesdays every Wednesday on Facebook for like 3 years. And that grew a heck of a brand, dude. And that was fantastic for the community that we were in. I believe so. Those were, and then referrals. Like obviously, everybody wants referrals. Referrals are by far the best business. We had an 80% plus conversion rate on referral business, and so that's really the three aspects or three main lead generation strategies that we used in our first couple businesses. So we've had 6 or 7 businesses now. I would tell you, what I've also learned throughout my time is we've done a lot of hard work, put a lot of time. So we run a podcast called the Insurance Buzz Podcast, and I've done. I mean, last year alone, I did over 100 free trainings for like insurance territories because I was trying to get my name. I was trying to get a foot in the door. What's the easiest way to get your foot in the door? Offer them something that they can't say no to. So I did over 100 free life insurance, 90-minute life insurance trainings last year, followed up typically with like a 30-minute call 2 weeks later just to answer any questions. So you're talking 2 hours of free time times I think I did 123 last year. Dude, that was a lot of free time, but it got more people to know who we are. I grew a network. That's the Insurance Buzz. It's grown a really good network. It's got people to know who we are, what we believe, what we're about. And so I believe that with the new business, we've grown a really big network. I mean, we have an email list of over 80,000 insurance professionals. So that's really beneficial to when you have a credible brand and a credible name that people trust, and I don't know if it's because I'm from the Midwest or what, but my last name is everything. That's why we named Weaver Sales Academy what we did. This new business, it won't have anything to do with our name, but that's more for sell purposes when we go to sell the company. My word is everything, and integrity is everything. And I believe that, yes, we're going to be yes, I'll have a sales team that'll cold call. We're going to be doing ads, right? So I think social media is extremely powerful, both organic and paid. Obviously, you've got Google that's extremely important from an SEO and paid ad standpoint. But I believe also like emails. I think a lot of people look over email lists. Email lists are very important to us. Our email list converts at a very high level. And so just continuing to provide value with no expectations, but you also have to have some call to actions in between the value. And if you have that, I mean, I've already got, last time I checked today, so I've been doing some workshops and stuff, telling people about this new company. We're only going to work with 100 agents over the first 90 days, and I've already got a wait list of almost 85 agencies, and I've barely done any marketing at all. So I think my wait list will be 300 or 400 agents by the time August hits when we launch the company. When I haven't even publicly started talking about this company yet. I've mentioned it on a couple podcasts. I did 2 workshops a couple weeks ago, and then I just introduced it to our community today. And I think that, yeah, so that's what I think. I think you have to grow your email list. I think you got to put in the work. I think you have to network. And I think you have to have multiple lead gen strategies like I just talked about, from prospecting to social media to paid ads to Google to centers of influence. So finding influencers in your space and working affiliate deals with them, that's definitely a marketing strategy we use. So I like to always go with a minimum of 5 lead gen strategies. That's always my approach in every business. I don't want to be hamstrung with one lead gen strategy. Even if it works really well, what happens when it quits working well? Right. So I used to have some back in the and I learned this lesson early on. I used to have a mortgage broker that I worked with. Well, in the insurance space, that's great, except for when that mortgage broker, when interest rates got tight and not as many people were buying, well, the lead volume went down drastically by over 75%. And well, that's a lot of leads that we were missing out on. So that was a really good learning lesson for me, that you always have to have multiple lead gen strategies. I like to reference fishing, for example. I'm not a big fisherman, but I'm smart enough to know that if I have 1 line in the water or 5 lines in the water, the 5 lines are going to give me higher probability of catching a fish versus 1. And that's the same way I look with lead gen strategies. I look for a minimum of 5 lead gen strategies going at all times to generate leads or prospects to our business so that we can have sales conversations.
5 different strategies. All right. Interesting. I never thought of, right now I was trying to think like how many strategies am I using right now? I'm at like 3, so I think I'm doing all right.
You might, I bet you're more. So what are your strategies right now, do you think?
Okay, so I am using a strategy a lot of people don't know about, and that's Instagram cold DMs. And that requires a lot of setup, multiple Instagram accounts, different softwares that you need to download to have that. I'm running cold email and I am working on my organic YouTube, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to say I hate doing the organic YouTube. It's just I'm such a perfectionist that every time I watch a video that I make, I'm like, do I even want to post this? Is it good enough? I go back and forth all day on it to the point where it's like, all right, it's been 2 weeks that I've had this video recorded and edited, and I still haven't put it up. So that I'm just gonna have to start firing and just teach myself like you got to just do it, put it out
Just
there,
do
and if
it.
it sucks, whatever. But yeah, those are the three strategies that I'm using right now.
IG. Okay. So cold DM, cold email, YouTube. You've got this podcast.
Well, this is part of my cold email strategy.
Okay, I got you.
hmm
Um, I would also say it's outside the cold email too, because you're going to drive people to the podcast. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that is true. I didn't even honestly when I first started doing this, the podcast was totally lead magnet based. Right? It was just totally for me to find my ideal
yep,
customers and start conversations with them in a way that's not intrusive.
yep.
And then I realized that I liked doing the podcast, so I was like, "Hey, why not just record and post them? Like, who knows what's going to come out of it?" So yeah, I guess you could say that's a fourth strategy.
Are you using LinkedIn at all?
I was, but it's a
Okay.
bit time consuming, so I'm looking for the right software that could automate that outreach for me a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm very shaky on which one I decide to use because there's a ton of them. Some of them I don't they really limit the amount that you could use at the price levels that they give you. I like sending more personalized voice messages than I do like to send
Yep.
actual text because
Yep.
voice messages just get a better response rate. So I haven't found a software. My partner is actually he's the he's a biochemical engineer, so he's the one working on building automations, trying to find ways to use HeyGen to represent my voice, and then also create those personalized messages. But yeah, so LinkedIn is on the menu. I post 3 times a week in text, and then 2 times a week I will post 2 clips of the podcast episode that I post that week. So I'm getting at least 5 posts up a week.
Heck yeah.
um, I haven't seen too much growth yet, but I know it's a long term game. So, but
Just
I'm definitely grinding it out.
okay. Yeah. I LinkedIn. I used to not be a huge fan of. Like, I just didn't understand it. But the last 2 years, I've really I think LinkedIn is powerful because that's where most professionals are hanging out, and it's pretty much all business, which I like. And so I'm actually very bullish on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is extremely important, and I just asked that because I. But you're already doing it as part of your marketing strategy. So see, you got LinkedIn, Instagram, cold email, YouTube, podcast. I bet you got some more going on too, like paid ads. You doing paid ads?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Paid ads. I run paid ads for a lot of companies, and something that I noticed is the two things that you really need a lot of is testimonials. And I'm a little bit younger in my career, so I have testimonials, but not a lot of them. And people
Mm-hmm.
like to see quantity over quality. I realize in sales funnels. Usually, when I don't know if you ever clicked through any marketing funnels recently, but there's usually an entire section of like 50 video testimonials that you could watch all of them, but people just like the visual of seeing a lot of that. And then the ones that don't have that, usually the person representing the company already has a pretty good organic following, so people are recognizing them on the page. So when I build a
Yep.
simpler funnel for them, it's mostly focused on the fact that that person exists. So that's why I'm not doing paid ads for myself yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've been considering some DM ads because lately I've noticed a trend that posting kind of what would be known as a bad creative. So something very simple, just like plain text written over a picture, is getting pretty good DM responses because it feels organic. People want to have that conversation. And so that's the next thing I'm thinking about testing, but that's in the probably next month. I'll make that decision.
Okay. You're doing good, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Because we haven't. The last one I guarantee also is referrals, and I guarantee you're doing referrals. So
Yeah, I actually, well, I mean, again, pretty young in my career, but I did just get a pretty good referral last week, and we're supposed to have the onboarding tomorrow. So
there
just
we
waiting for the
go.
paperwork to go through.
See, I just one, two, three, four, five, six. Six lead gen strategies.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize it. I mean, yeah. It's almost sometimes like so chaotic trying to grow the business that you don't even realize all the work that you're doing because in the back of your mind you're saying, "Well, I could be doing more." Like I'm
Well,
always thinking I could be doing more, so
should
I don't
you?
realize how much I am doing.
Yeah, man. It's just like it's you. Yep. start, and that's actually why I'm so pumped about August, because it's like
Square one,
back
the
to square
grind.
one, dude, which I actually love. Like, I'm a psycho. Like, I actually just told Courtney the other day,
Oh, me too.
I'm like, little mini psycho Michael's gonna have to come out for about 6 months to a year. So I'm like, now I have better balance than I used to. Like I really do. Like Fridays, I don't really work much anymore. Thursdays, I have been taking off at noon. I won't do that anymore moving forward though. So it's like podcasts are Mondays, and then it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of nothing but just straight grind, work, prospect, calls. But that's what you have to do to make it happen, man. Like if I can have 25 sales calls a week, I think I'll close 20 of the 25, which would mean 80 new customers a month. And I think 80 new customers a month, I'll be growing roughly 300 to 400 users a month. And that's my goal, is if I can grow 300 users a month, I'll be at 1,000 users in 3 months at the end of 90 days, which is that's my goal.
Cool.
Because we're charging, it's $100 a user, so you can do the math on that,
That's
and it's
it.
like to start off.
And
Yep,
that's a monthly recurring.
yep, $100 per user monthly. Yep, so that'll be our starter. So we're what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create the best product on the market. Not and I mean the price at the 100 is going to be lowest. I think with the market data and research I've researched, we'll be able to do more than that. So like I'm not really making any money. Like there are costs. This is somewhat of an expensive product. So there's not a lot of
Yeah, I can
margins there.
imagine.
But once you get proof of concept, and that's my goal, is to have a badass product, everybody wants it, then you can kind of figure out what the magic price point is to where it's profitable, but it's also still affordable for your customers. And so but 100, any agent's going to be able to afford that. And that's what we're trying to do, is get it in as many hands as possible, get the data, figure that out. What do people want? And then go on to create multiple versions of it. And then we can increase prices because we'll have proof of concept with a ton of testimonials.
Yep. I mean, you got to figure it out, brother. That's
I don't know
exactly
if
what I would do.
I don't know if I got it figured out, but that's what we're rolling with, man.
All right. I mean, you got to start somewhere for sure.
That's right. That's right. But I'm pumped though, because it's me and Courtney all over again. Like we're gonna be doing the marketing, the sales, the service, the onboarding. Because I like to know every aspect of a business. When I start a business, I like to know how to do every aspect of it. So when I bring on people, I can have the training, the processes and systems already built. They do it, we onboard them, get them up and going, and then it's like the thing just runs like a machine. So, and I never feel like I'm hamstrung, no matter how big we get, to where if the whole team leaves, because that's happened to me before, I can go right back into the business and have it running and operating, because I've actually been it. I've done it. I'm definitely one of those leaders and CEOs that likes to lead by example, just not tell people to go out and do shit. So probably a little bit of a control freak, but it's only 3 to 6 months of building. You build it like crazy, and then you build a great team to continue to build it.
All right. I think that is a great way to end it off. I really did appreciate all the time you took, and I'm glad that you stayed for the extra amount of time.
Yeah, dude, this has been a great conversation.
Yeah, I did. I had a really good time. Sometimes I do these. I'm not gonna lie, I get pretty bored because some people just don't. No, I'm serious. Like some people, I expect their business is cool, but they're not that cool of a person, and it happens, you know.
Hey, I'll take it. See,
But
37, I'm still cool, bro. See?
all right. To close it off, you want to let people know where they can find you and Weaver and this secret
Yeah.
AI tool.
Yeah. So, if you are an insurance agent listening to this right now, so Weaver Sales Academy, you could check us out there, weaversa.com. If you're interested in the new AI product that I talked about, you can just text me 816-727-7610. Just put in the body of the text AI, and I'll be in touch with you, and I'll put you on the wait list. But other than that, I'm a big believer of free content. So I'm on any social media platform. Just look up Michael Weaver, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I don't know if my team's got me on TikTok or not, but either way, it doesn't matter. I'm on pretty much, I think I am on TikTok. I primarily operate on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then Insurance Buzz podcast. We just found out that we were ranked the number 2 insurance podcast in the country out of 90 insurance podcasts, which we're pretty excited about. That's not why we do what we do. I didn't even know until a peer of ours was like, hey man, like look at your congrats on number 2. I'm like, what are you talking about? So check us out on the Insurance Buzz. I'm on YouTube, and then I have a couple books as well. One is specific for the insurance industry called Game Changer, taking your insurance agency to the next level. My second book is actually for any sales professional in any sales industry. It's called Quote 3: How to Make Multiple Six Figures in Any Sales Organization. So other than that, man, I appreciate the opportunity today. And if any of you have any questions, you want to reach out, text that number I gave you, 816-727-7610. It'll come directly to me. It's not my AI. It's not a bot. It truly is me. So,
All right, awesome. Everybody, this has been the Grow Yours podcast, and we'll see you next time.